बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबील करीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. The title for the present talk is Mumin is like a tree. This title is derived from a verse of the Quran. In the chapter number 14 of the Quran, in the verse 24-25, the Quran says, Alam tara kayfa daraballahu maslan kalimatin tayyibatin ka shajaratin tayyibatin asluha sabitun wa far'uha fis sama tuti ukulaha kulla hinin bi'idhni rabbiha kadhalika yadribullahu al-amsal la'allahum yatafakkarun. It means that the example of a true believer, Mumin or true believer, is that he is like a tree, like a healthy tree. Its roots are firm in the earth and its branches are in the heaven. It gives its fruit at all times. This is a parable for those who try to reflect. First of all, we must know why God chose tree as a parable or as an example. You know, in the universe, in this vast universe, there are numerous creatures, numerous items like sun, moon, planets, stars, mountain, ocean, so many, more than billion and trillion items. But God selected only tree because tree is a very unique type of creature. Tree is a very unique creation of God. Tree has the capacity to grow. Tree begins its life from a seed, a small seed. Then it grows until it reaches a full tree, until it becomes a full tree with stems, with branches, with leaves, with flowers, with fruits, with shadow, with greenery. So this kind of phenomena is unique in this universe. Because of this, God chose a tree to tell us that this is the example for you. I can say that God has demonstrated a Mumin or Iman in the form of a tree. Mumin or believer, a true believer, begins from a small seed, that is kalima. Kalimatin tayyibatin ka sharatin tayyiba. Kalima. Kalima is the starting point of a movement. Now, kalima is not simply a recitation. Kalima is not simply a lip service. Kalima is not simply a kind of lip service. Kalima means realization. Kalima means marifa, realization. Kalima means discovery. When one discovers the truth with the capital T, he discovers God as a supreme truth. When he discovers Muhammad as a supreme guide for mankind. When one discovers Quran, the word as a word of God, and then he say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, this kalima. So marifa or realization or iman is like a seed, like a seed. So the personality of a mu'min begins from this seed. Then it grows like a tree until it reaches its complete height. So one aspect of this is given in the Quran in these words, Asluha sabitatun wa faruha fis sama. Its root is firm in the earth and its branches are in heaven. It is said that tree is as much downward as it is upward. Tree is a unique phenomenon. Tree is as much downward as it is upward. It means that tree always tries to consolidate itself. It is a symbol of consolidation. This kind of firm roots, it means that it has completely consolidated its existence. No man can remove it. So is the case of a believer. Believer also moves and acts, but first of all, he tries to consolidate itself in the earth, in its ground. Without consolidation, jumping here and there is not iman. So the first aspect of tree was that it has unique capacity to grow. Grow. There is no stagnation in tree's life. No stagnation like stone. In stone, there is stagnation. Stone is a phenomenon of stagnation. But tree is a phenomenon of growing. So is the case of a Mumin. There is no stagnation in Mumin's life. No intellectual stagnation, no spiritual stagnation, no thinking stagnation. In Mumin's life, there is always development, always progress. Mumin is always, Mumin always try to develop its spirituality. Mumin always tries to develop his spirituality, his mind, his energy. So, Mumin is like a tree, it always try to grow. Then Mumin don't know stagnation. Mumin is a Mumin is always in progress, and at the same time, Mumin always try to consolidate on its ground, on his ground. Then you see, it is now well known that tree has a very important function. That is, tree and also all plants. So plants purify the atmosphere by absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. This is a unique phenomenon. Plants purify the atmosphere by absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. This is a very unique phenomenon. And Mumin has also this quality. Mumin always try to live like a tree. You know, in our world, in this present world that is testing ground and everyone has freedom. So in such a situation, every time there are negative experiences, there are provocation. Every time there are such experiences like anger, like greed, like malice, like intolerance, like revenge, like greed, like injustice. So all these are negative kind of habits. And every time Mumin faces these kind of negative experiences, but he adopts the culture of tree. That is, Mumin takes negative experiences and then Mumin releases it in the form of positivity. For example, if there is provocation and he becomes angry, then in response, he will not return it into anger or revenge. No. He turns the anger into forgiveness. So one who provokes him, he gives him forgiveness. He gives him dua. He gives him compassion. So in return for negative thought, he gives positive thought. So this is the culture of a tree. This culture is also adopted by a Mumin. Mumin. There is a hadith that ashir nasa bikhuluqin hasanin. It means that give people positive experience. People must receive positive experience from you, no negative experience. Although there are negative items every time, but Mumin saves himself from being victim of that negative experiences. He always tries to live in positivity. This is the culture of tree. Tree takes carbon dioxide and return it in the form of oxygen. So is the case of a Mumin. Mumin experiences negative thought, but he returns it into a positive one. This is the tree culture, and also this is the Mumin culture. Then you see, Quran says that tuti ukulaha kullahinim bayna rabbiha. In every time, tree gives its fruit every time. So is the case of a Mumin. Mumin is a healthy tree, very, very healthy tree. It always gives nice fruit to his neighbors, to his companions, to his family, to his society, every time. So tree is a giver member of universal society. If universe is a society and tree is a member of that society, so tree is a giver member of the society, not a taker member. Tree gives people oxygen. Tree gives people fruit and flowers. Tree gives to others shadow and everything that is useful for mankind. So is the case of a Mumin. Mumin lives as a giver member of the society, not as a taker member of the society. There is a hadith, illam tanfahu fala tadurru. So this hadith gives us a 2-point formula. Either you have to live as a giver member of society or a no problem member of the society. Illam tanfahu fala tadurru. There is no third position. Only two positions, no third. That is, either you must live as a giver member of your society, or you have to live as a no problem member of your society. There is no third position. So this is the culture of a tree, and this is the culture of a movement. With the only difference that tree has everything but thinking. Tree has no mind. So tree, all these behaviors which we see in tree is a compulsive behavior. Tree is under the law of nature. So tree has no option. Tree has no option. Tree has no freedom. So tree's behavior is a compulsive behavior, but moment's behavior is by choice. What tree has adopted what tree has adopted under compulsion, Mumin adopts the same behavior but as a choice. This is the uniqueness of a Mumin. So Mumin activates his mind and he controls his behavior by his mind, by his thinking. So tree is under the law of nature, and Mumin is under his own mind, under his own thinking, under his own free will. Because of this, paradise is only for Mumin, not for trees. So this is the tree culture, which you can see every time in Mumin's life. So every tree is free of malice, free of revenge, free of anger. So is the case of a Mumin. Mumin is free of all these negative thoughts. Mumin is the master of the art of management, art of difference management, art of malice management, art of anger management. So Mumin is an expert of all these arts. So what tree does under the law of nature, Mumin does as his own decision, under his own decision. Then this is the quality of an individual tree or individual Mumin. So individual Mumin is like a tree, like a healthy tree. Then if there are a good number of Mumins, like 50 or 100 or more, then it is like a garden. When there are many trees, there is a garden. So is the case of Mumin. When Mumin is not only one, but there are many Mumins like this, then their accumulation, their gathering leads to a garden. So society at individual level, Mumin is a single tree, but at a social level, this kind of Mumin form a garden, a beautiful garden. And all those things which we see in an individual Mumin, here you can see at a larger scale. Garden means the same quality at a larger scale. Same kind of shadow, greenery, flowers, fruit, and positivity, and no anger, no malice. So this is the quality of a beautiful garden. Then there is the third phase. At the first phase, Mumin is like a tree. In the second phase, the group of Mumins are like a garden. When there is a group of Mumins, then there is a garden, beautiful garden, healthy garden, nice garden. Then there is a third phase. This third phase is mentioned in a hadith. The Prophet of Islam has said that at the night of Miraj, there is ascension. He happened to meet Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet Ibrahim. So Prophet Ibrahim said to him, O Muhammad, say to your ummah, to your followers, that paradise is a qiyan, Qian. Paradise is like a qiyan. Qiyan means open field. Open field. So he said that paradise is like a qiyan. Its soil is very, very nice soil, very good soil. Its soil is very fertile soil. And its water is very nice water. So everything is there. But it is an open field. It is qiyan. And these trees, these Mumin, will be planted in this land. So according to this hadith, in this present world, every Mumin is like a tree, or you can say that this world is like a nursery. Present world is like a nursery. All the Mumin are nurtured in this nursery. Then there is a transplantation. In pre-death period, we are like a nursery. We are living in a nursery in pre-death period. Then in the period hereafter, in the post-death period, every Mumin will be replanted or transplanted in the paradise. But this transplantation will be on selective basis, not a general basis. Only those trees that are healthy trees, only those trees that prove to be healthy trees, only these trees will be selected for transplantation in the land of the paradise. So there are three phases. First of all, every Mumin must grow itself, must grow his personality as a healthy tree. He must adopt the culture of a tree. Then when there are group, then they will become a garden, a beautiful garden. But this is not the end. There is a final phase. There is the third phase, there is the final phase. And this phase is in the post-death period. So according to the hadith, paradise is open field, but very, very fertile field. Very, very fertile. And everything is there. So in the hereafter, this there in the hereafter there will be a transplantation, but this transplantation will be on selective basis. Not all the trees will be replanted in that field. No, but this replantation or transplantation will be on selective basis. Only those trees or those persons who prove to be a very healthy tree, only those people who prove to be a, a positive personality, so they will be selected to replant or transplant in that field, which is paradise. And all other trees will be rejected. All other trees will be rejected. In Bible, there is a word, al-fizzatul marfuza, rejected silver. So all those people, all those persons who fail to develop themselves as a healthy tree, they will be rejected. Although they are obviously they are man or woman, they have body and everything, but in the eyes of God, they are not approved person. They will be rejected. Only those persons will be selected for this replantation or transplantation. So, trees are demonstration from God. So, trees are demonstration from God to make people know that what is the requirement of God. What is the requirement of God? What is the requirement of paradise? So, tree is a demonstration. Tree gives us a picture of paradise people. All those quality which we see in the tree, we must adopt those qualities in our personality. With only difference that these qualities in the tree are under the law of nature. Tree has no mind, tree has no free will. All those activities in tree are according to the law of nature. So tree is controlled by the law of nature. But men and women are controlled by themselves. We have mind, we have free will, we have choice, we have freedom. So we are supposed to control ourselves, but on the same line. What tree has demonstrated before us, we have to adopt the same culture by our own choice. So if we prove that we are like a healthy tree, we have prepared us like a healthy tree, then we will be selected to be replanted in the paradise. Now, paradise is the place where we will find happiness forever. Paradise is an eternal world. Paradise is free of all kind of limitations. Paradise is free of all kind of disadvantages. Paradise is free of all kind of pain and anxiety and boredom. There is no accident, no diseases, no old age, no death. Paradise is free of all these disadvantages. So one who want to find a place in this paradise, so one who want to be replanted in that land of paradise, he must adopt the culture of tree. He must adopt the culture of tree. He must adopt the positive way of life. Positive way of life. You know, paradise is meant for only those people who are proved, who proved that they are able to live like tree, like tree. So paradise is a beautiful garden, very nice garden, where everyone will live in positivity. But we must prove that we are able to live like this. So in present world, we have to live like a tree, then we will be able to live in paradise forever. This is the formula of paradise given in the Quran in Surah Ibrahim, that is chapter number 14, verse number 24-25. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين.
Maulana, is life governed by destiny or free will?
It's a very general question. People always want to know about this question, whether life is governed by this and that. I think that the matter is in between. In between. In 50% it is under the destiny and 50% under our free will. It is very understandable. It is not mystery. There is no complexity in this matter. You know, we are in this world, although we are free, everyone feels himself. We feel that we are completely free. But our freedom has a limitation. That limitation is that we cannot do anything without the support of nature. So nature is like a divine support, what we call life support system. I will say that it is a divine infrastructure. So we need a divine infrastructure. Without this infrastructure, we cannot do anything. For example, I want to walk on this earth. I want to walk in this city. It is my free choice. But it requires some more things like gravity in the earth, like air, and also light, sunlight. So all these things are like infrastructure. Without this infrastructure, we cannot do anything, although we have freedom. Although we have freedom. For example, if there is no supplier of oxygen, so although I have freedom to live, but without oxygen we cannot live. We will die. So 50% life is free will and 50% is destiny. Without this infrastructure, that is a destiny, you can say destiny. Without this infrastructure, we cannot do anything. We cannot live on this earth. We cannot move on this earth. So there is in Islamic theology, there are three schools: Jabariya, Qadariya, Wasatiyya. In our Islamic theology, there are three schools. It is called Jabariya, Qadariya, Wasatiyya. So Wasatiyya is like this. Wasatiyya means in between. 50% this and 50% that. This is Wasatiyya. Wasatiyya means middle position. So according to my study and my experience, life is 50% free will, 50% destiny. This is quite understandable. Everyone knows that I am free. It is everyone's own experience that I am free. For example, I am free to speak, but without air, if there is no air, you cannot hear my speech. Although I am free to speech, to deliver a speech, I am free to deliver a lecture, I am free to speak, but I need air. It is air that transmits my voice to your ear. Then you listen it. So this is infrastructure. The infrastructure is our destiny. And doing according to our free will is our freedom. So I think that neither Jabariya nor Qadariya are correct, but Wasatiyya is correct. Wasatiyya. And this kind of school, this theological school was established during Abbasid period. All these schools were established during Abbasid period. Wasatiyya and Jabariya and Qadariya. So I believe in Wasatiyya school. Myself, as far as my study and my experience concerned, I believe in Vasatiyya school, that is middle school. School that believes that matter is in between. It means that 50% free will and 50% destiny. But again, I would like to say that our freedom is absolute. As far as the freedom is concerned, it is absolute. So we are responsible because of this, that our freedom is absolute. So we are responsible how we use our freedom. So infrastructure is not our test paper. Our test paper is our own freedom. Infrastructure is supplied by God, so it is not our test paper. Our test paper is that our test is how we use our freedom. This is our responsibility. So I believe in Vasatiya school. Vasatiya, WASATIA, Vasatiya school. So this is the answer I found after a long study. This is a very old question, and people generally ask about this. But according to my study, this is the best answer to this question, that Vasatiya school is the thinking of Vasatiya school is correct. That is 50% destiny and 50% free will. And we are responsible according to our own free will.
Maulana, people ask, why is there suffering in the world?
Well, it's a very common question. People generally ask about this. But I think that suffering is not an evil. People generally take suffering as an evil. So they ask like this. Otherwise, it's not a question. Suffering is not an evil. Instead, it is a blessing in disguise. Suffering is a blessing. Why? It is suffering that creates challenge, that creates competition, that makes you to work hard. Without suffering, there is no activity. No activity. All those great men of the history were born in a poor family, in a family where there were all kind of sufferings, like poverty and disease and all kind of problem. So I see suffering as a problem, and problem means challenge. You see, Dr. Abdul Kalam is the President of India. So he occupies the highest post of our country. You know, he was born in suffering. He was born in a poor family. His family was not able to give him school fees. He was not able. So after a great, after a, after a, after a, after hard work, after many type of problems, he educated himself. It is long. He himself has given this story in his book, in his life, that I was born in a problem family, in a poor family. So is the case of all those people who emerged as a great men of the history, like Dr. Raman and all those, Dr. Faraday and Edison, all those uh, big people, all those super achievers we know were born in a family where there was all kind of suffering, all kind of problem. So it is the law of nature. It is way of nature. If people have anyone who have no suffering, no problem, if one lives in comfort and luxury, then there is no motivation. So problem motivate you. Without problem, there is no motivation. Without motivation, there is no development. I think that affluence or no problem situation demotivate people, and problem and all those kind of atrocities serve as a motivating force. So I think that it is course of nature. It is law of nature. And God, the creator, wants to create problems, create challenges, create competition. And it is this situation that makes people great people. There is a very, very nice saying of some thinker that it is not ease but effort, not facility but difficulty that makes men. It is not ease but effort, not facility but difficulty that makes men. Personally, I don't take these things as a problem. These are blessing in disguise. Without problem, without atrocities, there is no activity. It is this problem that activate you, that motivate you. Maulana Wahiduddin has prepared a book with the title The History of History. The Study of History. In this book, he 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 studies all the great civilizations of the world, and it is his finding that all those civilizations were created by those people who were minorities, who were suffering all kinds of problems. Those people who were born in affluence, they never created any civilization. So I take all these problems as a challenge, as a stepping stone. These are stepping stones. It is my own experience, it is my family's experience, and also I have read all these things in books. Myself have experienced so many suffering, so many problems, so many difficulties. But I think that these difficulties were a stepping stone for me. A stepping stone for me. These problems were blessing in disguise for me. So is the case of my family. And all those uh, people who are called superachievers, all those people who are called superachievers, they were born in difficulties, in problems, in atrocities, in poverty. Then they emerged. The superachievers were emerged from such a situation, not from influence, not from affluence and comfort. So according to my experience and according to my study, all these things are blessing in disguise. All these things are like stepping stone. All these things are ways of nature. It is a method of nature. It is not unwanted. It is not unwanted. It is wanted, and it is a it is it is the method of the creator. It is a part of creation plan of God. All these things are part of creation plan of God. So you cannot remove it, and they are not evil part of life, but they are positive part of life. This is my experience, and this is my study.
What is man's test?
What is man's test in this world? According to Islamic teachings, man's test is that he must use his freedom in a proper ways. Man is given freedom by the Creator. In this world, God provided everything for us: water and food and air and oxygen and light and all those things that are called life support system. And then God created us and settled us in this world, in this earth, as and gave us freedom, complete freedom. So our test is how to use this freedom. Those people who misuse that freedom, they will go to hell. And those who have properly used their freedom, they will go to paradise. This is the crucial test. The test is in freedom. Then God sent Prophet Muhammad. He is the final prophet, and God sent Al-Quran, that is the final book. So how to use properly our freedom? We have to read Quran. You have to find the guidance, divine guidance. Without this, we cannot know how to use properly our freedom. Although there is conscience, and by conscience we know some things, that is bad, is good, but simply conscience is not enough. We have to learn from prophetic guidance, from the Quran, from the book of God. So if we want to 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 be a deserving candidate for paradise, we have to follow the prophetic guidance. We have to follow the teachings of the Quran. We have to follow the word of God. Without this, simply conscience, simply knowledge, simply science, simply philosophy is not enough to know how to use this freedom properly. So this is the test. This is the test of every human being, man or woman, both. According to the Quran, there is no difference in man and woman. Man and woman both are on this test. Both are on trial. There is no difference at all between the two regarding this aspect. So we have to adopt that ideology which is given in the Quran. We have to adopt that worship which is given in the Quran and Hadith. We have to adopt that moral values which is given in the Quran and Hadith. We have to live in our society as is mentioned in the Quran and Hadith. So this is the proper use of freedom. So the crucial thing is freedom. The test is based on this concept that we are given freedom and we have to use our freedom properly. Those people who misuse their freedom, they will be punished. They will be punished by God. So, according to the Quranic teachings, man is born as an eternal being, but his life span is divided into two parts. A small part of this is a small part of his life lies in the pre-death period, and larger part of his life lies in the post-death period. So, in pre-death period, we are on trial. In post-death period, we will be awarded according to our deed, according to our action, according to our record, in this test period. So this is the answer to this question according to the Quranic teachings. There is a verse in the Quran, خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. It means that God created life and death so that He may know who is best in deed. So there are other verses like this that tell us that God wants to select those people who are best in character, best in deed. So God will select these people to settle them in paradise. Paradise is for those people who qualify it in this world. So selection is in this world and rewarded in the world hereafter. There is a hadith, innamal a'malu binniyat. Actions depend on intention. So the most important part is intention. God always sees your intention. God always sees your intention. So there may be some shortcomings in your deed, but as far as the intention is concerned, no concession is allowed. No concession. Indeed, God will give you some concession. But as far as the intention is concerned, there is a niyyah. A niyyah. In niyyah or intention, there is no concession. No concession. So our intention must be pure, complete, in complete sense of the word. Our intention must be pure in complete sense of the word. Intention means all our deed or our action must be for the sake of God, not for the sake of ourselves, not the sake of any other interest. Fi sabilillah. There is the word fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillah means for the sake of God. Our speech, our action, our behavior, our activities, everything must be for the sake of God. For the sake of God. This fi sabilillah. So this is good condition, good intention. In Islam, good intention means fi sabilillah. That is doing your work, doing your all kind of doing your work for the sake of God, not for any other purpose. If you do your work for some other purposes, then that is bad intention according to the Islamic teachings. And then if you do for the sake of God, then it is good intention. So only those deed or those actions will be approved by God. Those are for the sake of God. For the sake of God. Otherwise, it will not be accepted by God. Only those actions, those deeds will be accepted by God that have good intention. That is fi sabilillah, for the sake of God. Otherwise, it will not be accepted by God. No. It is very clear in the Quran and Hadith both. Very, very clear. So fi sabilillah is a very crucial condition for every deed, for every action. It is very, very crucial condition. Without fi sabilillah, no amal, no deed will be accepted by God.
Maulana, what is the importance of the mind in the test? Man's mind.
Why the importance of mind in the test? So everything depends on mind. It is mind. Intention is in the mind. In pre-scientific era, people were believing that intention lies in the heart. But now in scientific era, no one believes in this notion. Now all the actions are governed by mind, not by heart. Now, according to the scientific discovery, according to the scientific studies, heart is simply a tool of blood circulation. Blood circulation. And all the thinking process comes from mind. So it is mind that is responsible. It is mind that is responsible. So it is mind that realizes the truth. It is mind that that tell us everything. When we pray, when we pray, when we, in all those kind of Islamic deed are governed by mind, by mind. The prayer and fasting and Hajj and moral character, everything is governed by mind. So it is mind that is basically responsible in our life. It is not only the question of religious deeds, but also all other deeds, all other actions are also governed by mind. For example, when we when we go to schools or colleges, when we educate our children, there is also a phenomenon of mind. It is the mind through which we find education. It is the mind through which we study. It is the mind through which we do our business. It is the mind through which we do our job. So mind is the only quality of a man through which we do all the things. We organize all our activities. So is the case of religious activities. Our religious activities also begins from mind. When we think about the truth, there is an act of mind. You know, everyone, as I have said earlier, that when one is born in this world, he faces some questions. Everyone. Who am I? What is the purpose of life? What is death and what is life? What is hell and what is paradise? So all these questions are related to mind. It is mind through which we can find answers to these questions. Through mind we believe, through mind we realize, through mind we discover God, through mind we understand Al Quran. So I think that it is very important to train our mind. According to my experience, there is only one obstacle in this regard, that is conditioning. In our society, everyone becomes conditioned case, a case of conditioning. There is a hadith, "Kullu mawludi yuladu al-fitra," and everyone is born as a Mr. Nature. But then his home, his institutions, his society, his family, and we are not living in an island. It's not possible to live on an island. We live in a family, in a society, in institutions. So all these experiences are, through all these activities, we are conditioned. So everyone becomes a conditioned mind. So it is the first question to decondition our mind. Without deconditioning, our mind cannot do his functions objectively. So although mind has all kind of potential, but living in a society, we become conditioned mind. So everyone becomes a conditioned mind. So to prepare our mind, it is must to decondition your mind. Otherwise, your mind is not a prepared mind. Your mind is not a receptive mind. So I think that mind has all kind of quality, all kind of potential. But at the same time, it is also a fact that every mind is conditioned mind. Conditioned mind. Every man and woman are case of conditioning. So the efforts begin from here. To prepare mind, the process of preparation of mind begins from here. So first of all, you have to decondition your mind so that you may become objective thinker. There is a hadith, Aranal Ashya Kamahya. O God, make us able to seek all things objectively. This is a dua. O God, make us to see all the things objectively. This is deconditioning. This is deconditioning. So all kind of activities begin from here. First of all, we have to decondition our mind. Then we will be able to see things objectively. Then we will be able to plan our life in an objective manner, in a realistic manner. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand things as it is. As it is, thinking is result of deconditioning. So I think that everything depends on mind, but first of all, we have to decondition our mind. Otherwise, we cannot turn our potential into actual. This is my experience.